Hello everybody, it's Rick. It's Saturday, November the 2nd, 2019. My email is rick, RICK0327 at me.com. Pardon me. My email is, if you're interested to receive my paperwork in exchange for a gift. The paperwork, you have to add your own personal information. Okay. I do not work personally with you. I'm not a legal professional. I am not allowed to interfere personally in your challenges. Okay, but my paperwork is made. Over 50 affidavits, okay, to help you, okay, go to court to challenge the many presumptions that they, that they placed upon you, okay. One of the what they do is they send you a notice to appear, which is really just an invitation, okay. It's the whole situation is fraud based. What they want you to do is they threaten you. They threaten you by telling you that a default judgment will be issued if you don't show up, and because they're a runaway train of fraud, they will issue a default judgment, and there's enough victims of child support out there that when people get this in the mail, they take it serious. Okay, so their goal is to scare you into showing up. Also, in the same notice, they'll tell you that your driver's license may be suspended. You may be arrested, and it's all to get you to show up. And then when you show up, you're implying consent because you are making a general appearance, and in the general appearance, you're not contesting personal jurisdiction. Okay? And the way you're supposed to do it is you're supposed to contest on record, and the record is a responsive document. And the responsive document is where I come in. Okay? Many people use my paperwork. There's all types of trickery that happens after. The child support agencies, they resort to trickery to not answer the paperwork. They'll try and bully you. I have people go to hearings and they just ignore you. And that's why it's important to respond with the right paperwork. And then when you show up, you should not engage these people. I know it's hard. I've been there, trust me. I'm not one of these supposed experts, and I don't claim to be an expert, but there are a lot of experts on the internet that are just looking to get your money, and many of them never even been to court before. Trust me when I tell you this. Okay, there are a lot of people out there. There are a lot of victims of child support, and there are a lot of people looking for help. That means that there's a lot of money to be had on the internet. All right, I had a guy reach out to me a few days ago, and he was victimized by a known channel that's been out there for a while. Okay, and I've received a lot of emails of people, and I don't know how these guys get away with it. They send them the money and then they don't respond. I mean, I don't know how you get away with that. I mean, if somebody sends me a gift, literally as soon as I'm aware of the gift, the paperwork is on its way. I send it by email. Okay, I just I am here to help. All right, I my life began to get better when I started this channel, which I started this channel almost 3.5 years ago. So I started posting videos about child support. I might have started this channel years ago just for whatever reason, but I mean, I started posting videos. Really, all it was just me holding my camera and speaking. You know, for like the first few months, you guys didn't even know what I looked like. All right, and all I was doing was venting, and then I was also posting, you know, showing what paperwork I was filing and letting everybody know what was going on, and then while I was doing that, you know, I had my child support case, you know, vacated, okay, under default, okay, and you know what happened was they claimed they notified me, they didn't, and then they retroactively modified my support, which they're not allowed to do. What they did was they went to town on me, okay, and assessed $40,000 in arrears by retroactively going back to 2007 on a divorce, by the way, not even a Title 4D case. It was just rampant lawlessness, okay, and I was just venting, but by posting the videos, that happened, and you know, whether you want to believe in karma or not, I do. Okay, I believe that by doing good, helping people, helped turn my life around. So I've made many videos, you know, offering my experiences, offering what I know, posting videos, providing, you know, information for people. I've had a lot of people go to court and do well. Okay, I've helped a lot of people get their driver's licenses back. People had their child support case dismissed, default judgment, dismissed. You know, I've helped a lot of people. Now, there's a lot more people I didn't help because I can't control everything. All right, it's just rampant lawlessness, but I've helped educate a lot of people. All right. What you need to know is that this whole child support thing is nothing more than it's a service-based relationship between you and them. And what they're doing is they're getting, first of all, they get the let's just assume that, you know, I'm just talking about men right now. I know there are women out there that are paying child support. I understand that. I've talked about it on my videos plenty of time, but let's just for this sake just say it's men. And usually the mother, the custodial parent, they file for welfare, and in order to get welfare, you have to cooperate with the state and provide information so the state can, basically all they are is a debt collector, and then they're going to collect child support on behalf of the mother. All right? That's what that's all about. And so they need all your information, and then they start by income withholding, seizing money from your wages, okay? Or income if you're on disability. If you win a lawsuit, they figured out to get your money somehow. Okay, but it's a service-based relationship. So they got the mother's consent, obviously, and then what they have to do, they need to get either your expressed consent, meaning you're expressing that you are consenting, or implied consent. And as I started the video saying, how do they get the implied consent? They scare you into showing up. And then when you show up, and I've discussed it, my last few videos on the Uniform Interstate Family Support Act, they want you to make a general appearance, and then when you show up, you don't know what's going on. So obviously you're not going to contest. And by you showing up, you're implying that you're consenting. And this is very true, because I've had many people who I've dealt with. They'll tell me that they'll get paperwork from the child support agency, and the child support agency will say, well, such and such showed up for the hearing and did not what do you call it? Waived the jurisdiction by not contesting. So that's the whole goal. That's the reason why they work so hard to scare you to show up. Okay? So what I've been doing is I've been working on, I have paperwork where what we're doing is we're asking for, before you go, you're asking for discovery of non-support, discovery of your willful non-payment of support. See, here's another thing they do to you. And again, because it's all based on presumptions, they'll say, let's say, for argument's sake, it's a paternity case, and let's say you had no idea that you were the father, okay? And then here's another thing. What they do is you just found out. Let's say the child is 15 years old. They will assess 15 years of child support against you, which they cannot do legally, because it has to be willful non-consent, and it cannot be willful unless you know. You understand? This is how predatorial the system is. They're predators. And here's another thing. The lawyers do not even contest this part. They'll just say, yeah, you got to pay it, because the lawyers are in on it. Okay? Here's another thing. Many people have been getting hit with the legal fees. The lawyers are assigned by the state. The lawyers are representing the state in the child support case. So let's say again, we'll just assume it's a mother. The mother has an attorney for child support. That attorney is representing the state, not representing her. And that means that lawyer is being paid by the state. So why would you have to pay lawyer fees if they're already being paid by the state? This is what we're dealing with, or what you're dealing with. Okay? So, I know it's a lot. But, again, they need your expressed consent or implied. And here's the thing. Implied consent doesn't really, okay, it's one of those terms you're going to have to contest, because you can only consent when you have knowledge, knowing, you have a knowledge of. All right, that's why it's really express consent. Express consent is when they're supposed to fully advise you of your rights. So that means when you're consenting, you have a complete understanding of what you're consenting to. And here's another thing. When you consent, you're waiving your constitutional rights. Unless, you sign under UCC 1-308, all rights reserved. Okay, that's the way you get around that. Okay? So, but I could do a whole video on that, all right? But again, understand that it's a contractual relationship between you and the child support agency. They want you to believe that you have to, okay? your whole right. I'm gonna end the video soon, but here's another thing I discovered. The definition of obligation, as it's defined under 42 U.S.C. 666, just what I just said. Obligation is an established duty arising from an implied or expressed consent to a grantor, grantee, licensee, licensor, relationship. Really, it's a contract. That's all it is. Okay, that's all. But again, what do? They call you an obligor. Well, you can't be an obligor until you expressed consent or implied consent. Well, you cannot imply consent until you actually show up. But even then, I am contesting these proceedings. I am only here I'm here under duress. It was implied in the letter that if I did not show up, I could be arrested, my license would be suspended, and a default judgment would be issued against me. Therefore, I cannot any contract under these terms is fraud. So therefore, I cannot knowingly consent under fraudulent on fraudulent grounds, meaning duress, misrepresentation, okay, trickery. All right. So that's what that comes under. So you cannot be called an obligor until you expressly consent after you're supposedly advised of your rights. Okay. All right. So listen, I covered a few things. Just understand that they need your consent before you show up. Okay. Shoot a letter to the clerk asking for instructions. What rights am I giving up by showing up? Must I show up? Why? Will I be arrested? On what grounds? See, I talked about that in my last video, I believe, that if you're not showing up in handcuffs, you don't have to be there. You're there because you're scared. And again, you cannot, consent to a contract if you have a gun to your head. Anybody will sign anything with a gun to your head. That's another thing they do. They'll suspend your driver's license. Oh, I want my driver's license. Well, you're going to have to pay us $500. And here's another thing that they do. Again, more trickery. They get you to sign you're admitting guilt. Why? Because you need your driver's license. People will do anything to get the driver's license. All trickery. Then why do they need your signature if you're supposed to be there? And they have, they claim you must be there. You get me? It's a contractual agreement. All right, guys. My email is rick@0327@me.com. If you're interested, you want to send a gift to receive my paperwork. Again, I'm not soliciting, but again, trust me, if you go there unprepared without any paperwork, you don't have a chance. All right, guys. I'll talk to you later.